listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you are here with us. It's going to be a great morning. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great year. Maybe not. However, all we can do is what we can do with what we have when we have it. And right now, we have the opportunity to be live here on CKLU 96.7 FM doing a show. Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be back. Feels like it's been a year of not doing the show. Getting ready this morning for the show, it was very interesting. Again, it feels I feel a little rusty, and but I have this intrepidation about this year, and I'm optimistic, even though everything points to not being optimistic due to the way things are looking nationally, internationally, and it's hard to stay positive. But at the same time, I'm gonna stay positive because I have that ability to, and I have the power to stay positive, and that's just what I'm gonna do. So with all that, we have a great show planned. We have, let's look at Sudbury, year in review. What kind of year was it? What were some of the main headlines that we had going on? And what can we make of those, what kind of a year was it locally? And maybe looking ahead, what are some things in the city that we can look forward to? Also, provincially, nationally, and internationally in the world around us. We'll take a little bit of a look into that as well, and see if we have, we can peek into a crystal ball somehow, and try to predict what kind of things we got to look forward to. But right now we're looking forward to our show. We have news, weather, sports, local, regional, provincial, national, international, and a little bit of a deep dive today, as usual, into the state of our country and some of the decisions that we have been making and are making, and the goals that we seem to have as a country, whether they're in line with the citizens or not, is a question that we ask. But we make decisions nonetheless, and policies and laws. And we put one foot in front of the other, and we try to make heads or tails of it. But that's what we'll try to do today. But thanks for being on, everyone. We have a little gang so far, and that's what I would have expected after the new year. So all of those that are on with us, thank you so much, and for your dedication. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow on our social medias channels, so that way we can get the word out there of what we're doing here. We're not only on the radio at CKLU 96.7 FM, we are streaming at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app, download it, take us with you, and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also on Facebook and YouTube, live. And like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, share, which I've already said. But make sure to comment, because that's how we, that's the purpose of the show, is to have a conversation on your station, on the radio, and to basically unpack, the news headlines of the day and what's going on, and have a conversation, which is very rare in our world today. A lot of people can't have conversations about things that are in the news because it can be controversial, and people have lost the art or the talent of having conversations with other people when they particularly may not agree with the other person's point of view. However, the other person's point of view is very valuable. And that's the part of having a conversation. It's the enriching part of it, because that's where we learn that it's not only our point of view that's out there. And maybe we together discover what is important in our lives and in our world, and then try to discern what it would be that we could do to make our world a better place. And that we can do that if we have very rich, fulfilling, and sometimes not easy discussions, but discussions nonetheless. You'll also find the show up on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter, after the show, and on our website, Sudbury.news. You go to the Sudbury News Talk link on the website, and you can find the show there as well. So thanks for being with us. Let's dive right in. We'll start off with a little bit of weather. We'll be back with some sports and your comments, much, much more. Great conversation today about the year that was, the year that will be, after this. So thanks for being with us. Stay tuned. We're going to have a great show. And as usual, Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. It's currently -2 degrees, but it feels like -9 out there. Today, as I refresh the page, because I haven't done that yet, we can expect it to be cloudy, 60% chance of flurries this afternoon. The wind will be gusting up to about 40 kilometers an hour. High near zero. Wind chill -10 in the morning, and tonight cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries. Low winds, and the low will be -6, but the wind chill will feel about -8. Wednesday cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries, not showers. And but this time of year, like, holy heck, how mild has it been? I've never be thinking that I would have made a mistake by saying it's a chance of rain. But it could be. We're on January 2nd already, 2024, and it's been rather mild. But the high tomorrow will be -3. The wind chill will feel about -11. And your extended forecast, as we get that queued up here, like we said, 60% chance of flurries tomorrow, high of -3, and then sunny, high of -12. So a little more cold on Thursday, however, sunny. And then 30% chance of flurries on Friday with a high of -3. Saturday, also 30% flurries and a high of -9, 30% chance of flurries on Sunday with a high of -8, high of -7 on Monday with a 60% chance of flurries. So it looks like we'll be getting some of the white stuff after all. But again, it's only 30% chance, but there's so many days in a row that, it's more than likely we got to get snow eventually, right? And all these people ready to get out and ski and snowmobile and all these things and enjoy the winter that we usually are able to enjoy. Sorry about not having snow. That's been my thoughts and prayers, coming into the season, that we don't get much snow this year. We get a mild winter. It's just, that's been my wishes. So if that's the reason why, I apologize, but I really don't think it has anything to do with me. It's just something that, for driving purposes, because I drive quite a bit, long distances, it is what it is. So we'll be back. That's your weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Back with a little bit of sports right after this. the Sudbury Wolves are atop of their division. They're also, so you can see here, I'll get it up on the screen for everybody who's watching. Those on the radio, don't worry. We got this for you. So the Central Division, we're sitting on top of the Central Division in the OHL. Also, we are sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference in the OHL. And we're sitting third overall in the entire league. So, way to go, Sudbury Wolves. Congratulations. I don't even know where my sound effect is. I'm going to pick the wrong one. Hey, no, I didn't. So congratulations to our Sudbury Wolves at the end of 2023, beginning 2024 on top. Only third in the entire league, but on top of their division and on top of the Eastern Conference. You have the Brantford Bulldogs, however, nipping at their heels. And but if they can continue winning, they got 5 out of 6 potential points over the holidays, defeating the second overall Sioux Greyhounds quite emphatically with an exclamation point. And so they're looking pretty good. So that's that. And the Sudbury 5 also winning their first game, home game right here in Greater Sudbury. So that's off to a good start as well. That's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca, where all sports, local sports aggregates into one convenient location on the Sudbury.news website. We'll be back with your comments and much more local news, and also some more regional and international, national and international news, along with your comments right after this. Okay, and we are back as promised, and looking forward to a good show. And let's check in. We have 11 people on, which is about half of what we would normally have at this time. And I totally get it that we got to get back into the swing of things. And so we still have some regulars here, though. Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. Maurice as well. Good morning. Sunshine, happy emoji. Belinda, good morning. And happy new year. Be the light for those who have lost their will to burn. Beautiful. As usual, from Belinda, keep them coming. And happy new year to you as well as all the listeners and viewers out there. Happy new year. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, campers. Welcome to 2024. Will this be an election year, or will we continue to hang on by a thread? ? May 2024 bring prosperity and good health. Thank you, Brian. Much appreciated. And Belinda's back here. The feeling of being offended is a warning indicator that is showing you where to look within yourself, or unresolved issues. That's right. So I think that's a comment coming on my comments of conversation, and it's healthy to have conversation, and you don't see much of it these days. And it could oftentimes turn to contention, which is not good, rather than just being open to allow others to share their point of view, and for us to be actually interested in someone else's point of view. So yes, so as my computer is rebooting on the fly, I'll try not to be distracted. Belinda again here, Brian. Okay, so we're just going back here. I just comments when people are having conversations. I have to moderate that. So good morning, everyone, from Marianne, from Barrie. Happy New Year. Liked and shared as usual, and much appreciated as well. And Victoria, Happy New Year. Everyone, appreciated Victoria. Happy New Year to you as well. We got so much to talk about today. And as my computer is loading up, I'll try not to be as distracted as I normally would be. Sudbury Star coming in here as the top news outlet of the day as we cover Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, CTV Northern Ontario, CTV Sudbury, or CBC Sudbury, sorry. And, all of it aggregates on one convenient location at Sudbury.news. So you go to Sudbury.news, and even though you're not allowed to share news anymore on Instagram or Facebook, thanks to our federal government, you can go to Sudbury.news and the news will be aggregated there, the local news, along with other news as well. You just have to look for it. And Monique, good morning. Thanks for being with us today. And sad news beginning 2024. As today's show, we'll be looking at 2023 in the year that was locally, right? So you have at least Sudbury Star doing this, as well as Sudbury.com. We'll look at those two specifically before we get to Sudbury.news, looking at some of the CTV and CBC news of the day. Sudbury Star has a newsletter, and I'll get it up on the screen here for those that aren't familiar. You may want to subscribe to the Sudbury Star's newsletter. It's Morning Brief. You go to their website and just subscribe to it. And pretty much every day you'll get, the news headlines from the Sudbury Star in your inbox, because that's the way that news has to be shared these days as we kind of are going backwards in time. Email. I almost thought email is becoming obsolete for a while there. But no, it's not anymore now that you can't share news on a lot of social media anymore, other than Twitter, X, that is. Today, sad news coming from the main headline. Hanmer man dies after falling through the ice. Greater Sudbury police officers are reminding people to take care after a man slipped through the ice on a local lake and died. In a release, police said officers got a call just after 10:45 Sunday, 10:45 a.m. Sunday morning, and witnesses say they saw the man walking on Onwatton Lake in Hanmer, and that he went through the ice due to the unsafe ice conditions. And I have to add not only my condolences to the family and friends of the individual. I believe he was 60 years old, if I remember correctly, reading the story. Name not released as far as I know at this point, but those who know the individual or related obviously know, and our condolences go out to the families and friends of the individual. And I add my caution to people to not go on the ice at this time. It has not been cold enough in this area to have ice thick enough for people to be on it. People, let alone vehicles. So please, it's a good thing there's no snow. I think it's saving lives, particularly with snowmobilers anyways, that might have taken chances going on the ice had they been out snowmobiling. So terrible news to end the year there. Sentencing, sticking with Hanmer, sentencing for a Hanmer abuser to take place on Wednesday. A Hanmer senior with a history of sexual abusing children will be sentenced January 3rd for raping a teenager in a Windsor hotel more than 6 years ago. The sentencing of Douglas Short, who is 77, has been delayed a number of times. Short pleaded guilty of sexual assault and extortion on July the 4th, and he was to be sentenced in December. But it hit a snag. Anyways, you can read more about that on the Sudbury Star's website. Something that a lot of us wish could have been ourselves. If you partake in the HSN lottery, 50-50 draw. A lively man ended up with being the winner of that draw. And he's more than $1 million richer now after winning the Sudbury Hospital draw for December. The Health Sciences North Foundation and Neo Kids Foundation, the Northern Cancer Foundation, and the HSN Volunteer Association announced that Bill Lynn, won the last 50-50 take-home jackpot for 2023. As a result, he took home almost $1.17 million, and he had a head rush when he heard the number over the phone. He said in a release, he still doesn't believe it. I can see that. I wouldn't either. The biggest story, according to the Sudbury Star for the year, was the Sweeney trial and everything that surrounded that during the year. It was the Nickel Capital's biggest whodunit case, a savage murder of a young university student in 1998 that went unsolved until police announced in late 2018 they had arrested a former resident now living in North Bay. Developments such as COVID-19, 4 bail attempts, a change of venue application, and the changing of defense lawyers meant, however, that it would take another 4 years before Robert Stephen Wright finally went to trial for the murder of Renee Sweeney. Wright was originally charged with the first-degree murder, but the charge was reduced to a second degree due to a direct indictment the Provincial Attorney General's office issued in the case. A direct indictment means a case goes directly to trial, skipping the requirement to hold a preliminary hearing. The spacious main courtroom A at the Sudbury Courthouse was packed at the outset of the trial on February the 23rd. That remained and that remained the case generally right through the trial's end. So it was packed courtroom all the way through the trial. Okay, so having your comments up on the screen here. Thank you so much, guys. Continue, and we have Evelyn joining us, it looks like, on YouTube. So thanks for joining us, Evelyn. He's a very good friend of ours. Oh no, please stay off the lakes. And that is very sad. Yes, for sure. And sorry to hear that, Evelyn. My condolences to you for losing someone that you know. And again, yes, we do need to take caution. This time of year, the ice is not thick enough to be on the ice. Okay, and now turning to Sudbury.com, again, looking at the year that was, right? Year in review. And speaking of the individual that we were just speaking of, another year has gone by, and then is the case every year. 2023 has seen the passing of Sudburyans who have made their mark on the city or on the wider world in their own unique way. Every year, we also use this list to mark the deaths of 1 or 2 people who didn't live in Sudbury, but nonetheless made a valuable contribution to the Nickel City in their own way. Condolences to go out to everyone who has lost loved ones over the past year. So if you want to read that list, you go to Sudbury.com, click on stories to start your day today, and you can read the full story there of those individuals that they have on the list. Also, as part of their year in review, 5 homicides in Greater Sudbury in 2023. The year 2023 saw 5 homicides reported in Greater Sudbury area. That's much more typical figure for this area than the number of homicides reported in 2022, when Statistics Canada confirmed there were 10 homicide victims in Greater Sudbury. Police also reported in 2022 2 vehicular manslaughter cases in the city, which are considered to be homicides, although those cases do not appear to be included in the Statistics Canada figures for last year. In the past 10 years, Statistics Canada reported 1 homicide in both 2013 and 14, 2 homicides in 2015, 0 in 2016, and 1 in both 2017 and 2018. There were 3 in 2019, 5 in 2020, 6 in 2021, showing an increase in homicides in recent years. The figures provided by Statistics Canada only go back to 1981. And in that more than 4-decade-long window, the largest number of local homicide victims in a single year was reported at 11 back in 1987. Just as you were thinking, oh my goodness, the homicides are going up every year or whatever since the last couple of years. We had 11 back in 1987. So I guess there's a lot to be unpacked in statistics, and they're not as cut and dry sometimes as one might think. Although we had very little in the years coming up to the last 3 or 4 years, and yes, they have increased. If you look at back from 2013, they've been increasing for sure. As I'm trying to multitask here and get everything back up and running, as my computer just went on sleep, or actually rebooted, which is a little distracting. However, we'll make do. Also, remember how big of a year it was for Laurentian University and them coming out of bankruptcy, basically, having passed much of the 2021-2022 years undergoing court-supervised insolvency restructuring. Laurentian University spent 2023 recovering from that challenging period in its history while still feeling the effects. To recap, the November 28, 2022, Laurentian University exited insolvency under Companies Creditor Arrangement Act, or the CCAA. After 22 months following its exit from insolvency, Laurentian is bound by terms of a plan of arrangement voted upon by its creditors in the fall of 2022, which include rules surrounding how creditors will be paid out, among other items. For that full story, again, you can go on Sudbury.com, click on stories to start your day, and you can find that story there and read that. And good morning, Lee. Thanks for being with us. Happy New Year. Also, looking back at the year in review, as I'm trying to find our Facebook page here and not sure what the heck happened there and why it's totally gone. It was supposed to come back on, but again, not surprised with technology the way that it is. There you go. And here we are. So as numbers go, as we already talking about statistics, the opioid crisis in Greater Sudbury in 2023 was not as deadly as in previous years, but the crisis continues in the sense that on a per capita basis, more people in Sudbury and other cities in Northern Ontario are struggling with addiction than other parts of Ontario, and people continue to die from drug poisoning, formerly called an overdose. So if we want to be politically correct, as language does change and is changing by the powers that be, changing language, and what we call different things. It used to be called overdose, but now it's called drug poisoning. I don't know which is worse or why the change, but it's drug poisoning, not overdose. I guess this is breaking news to a lot of people, including myself. This is based on the opioid surveillance, which is a web page published by the Community Drug Strategy in Sudbury, with regular updates on overdoses. Oh, they called it overdoses. Or drug poisoning, I would add. Emergency room visits and paramedics responses for people with addictions. The Community Drug Strategy organization is made up of Public Health Sudbury and District's Greater Sudbury Police Service, the Greater Sudbury the city of Greater Sudbury and other social agencies. The first warning of the year came from in the second week of January, when there were reports of an increase in the number of overdoses in Sudbury. So again, if we want to read more on that, you go to their website, Sudbury.com, stories to start your day, find the story there, and you can read the full story. Now, a couple more people joining us today. So Happy New Year, Tracy. Thanks for being on, as I'm trying to see what our numbers look like currently. And we're slowly moving up. So thanks everyone for jumping on. Late is better than never. Belinda says, I guess with Laurentian University debacle, they definitely are not going to follow the money trail. Not surprised. Yeah. Where's the heads that are rolling from that, right? You would expect that there'd be some accountability with something that big, the only university in Canada to ever and will ever go bankrupt now that there's new legislation preventing any other like institutions to follow the same path. You'd think that there'd be some accountability there other than people retiring early. I mean, that's not really accountability in my books, but interesting, right? It's the world we live in, I guess. Transparency and accountability are in short supply. I don't know why. It is what it is. Liette, good morning from Collingwood. All the best in the new year. Thanks, Colette, for being with us. And all the best to you as well. Happy New Year. And Belinda says, language and phrases are changing and have changed in the last 3 years. That's how they cover up deception. Anything to fit the narrative or their narrative. I would have to agree in some ways. I'm sure that's part of it. Victoria watched a documentary on Canada is Dying, a very good documentary. I believe that's from our friend Aaron Gunn, if I'm correct. A very good documentary, yes, I would have to agree. And I would highly recommend looking up Aaron Gunn's documentary, Canada is Dying, if that's the one you're referring to. If there's another one, then I'm sure that's worth a look as well. Steve Miller's song comes to mind, Take the Money and Run. That's for the Laurentian story, for sure. Marianne, Sudbury is in trouble with drug overdoses, and it would help if they would help some of these people instead of making them a statistic, and I agree as well. And I guess they would claim or state or believe that they are doing something by getting together and meeting and trying to bring all of the organizations that are stakeholders in the opioid crisis or the homelessness epidemic and the poverty, people that organizations that deal with people in poverty, people that are struggling with drug addiction, and people that are experiencing homelessness, and like that they are getting together and trying to figure it out, like other cities in the world, because we're not the only one. If you go through the world, you'll find pretty much the same thing in major cities, and sometimes worse. Just look at Chicago. One comes to mind. New York City. Well, they're huge cities, but we're a much smaller city than them, but it's still, it's happening all over. And good morning, Aaron. Happy New Year to you as well. Thanks for being on. All the best in the new year, by the way, to you. And that's right. It's happening everywhere. We're not the only city to have these problems. So it's not coming from our city, right? because it's not just a city specific problem. So where is it coming from? Is it coming from the province? Is Ontario the only province that's experiencing these issues in our cities with the poverty, people experiencing homelessness and addictions? Is it in our country? Is it just in Canada? Are there things that we're just doing? Is it in North America? Is it in the world? Why is it happening? Who is, speaking of accountability, right? Like, have we seen these problems in the recent past? Are they recent problems we're dealing with? Why all of a sudden do we see an increase in all of these three things? What perpetuates it? Who is responsible? Is there a group responsible? Is there no one responsible? Is it just natural? Is a natural sequence of things that cities begin breaking down and people don't have a place to live and they got no money and they start using very potent, dangerous drugs? You know, why? Why all of a sudden? Why is this a new problem that we're dealing with these days? Is it because of Doug Ford? Is it Doug Ford's problem? Is it he's caused it in the world? Is it because of the city's mayor, Sudbury's mayor? He caused it? You know, let's really think. You got to think outside the box. A lot of people just want simple answers to why we're in the position we're in, and they're not simple. And you know, it is a worldwide problem. Where are the drugs coming from? You know, why are they littering our streets? And then why do we even buy our taxpayers' money, which is a Canada-specific thing? We buy more drugs for people and make it safer for them to inject or to partake. It's happening all over Canada, which is true. Brian says, sadly, we live in a world of shut the F up and listen world. The real sad part is nobody seems to be open to the idea of open discussion anymore. Why? Okay, good question. And Liette says it's happening here in Collingwood too. It's everywhere. It's less noticeable in smaller towns, but it's here. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And that confirms what we're saying here. That's not just a city-specific thing. It's a worldwide thing. The UN giving us unelected orders. So that's Denise. I would think it has to be coming from something worldwide because it is a worldwide problem. So something not coming from our community, region, province, country. It's higher than that, obviously. Marianne says exactly. It's sweeping it under the rug kind of world. Denise, it's absolutely the halls have to say. We have no say, do we? Okay, so yeah, get out and make a difference. Get out and have your voice heard. Drugs from the government, Lee? Yeah, that's the ones, our taxpayers are paying for. To add to the whatever's going on, whoever's putting them on the streets, and then we're putting more through our taxpayers' dollars. It's just interesting. How do we solve the drug problem? Buy more drugs and make it easier for people to take them. Seems like a really great solution to me. Okay. Belinda says, and that was sarcastic, by the way. Belinda says, just a reminder, while people were sleeping on the streets this Christmas, Justin Trudeau was vacationing in the Caribbean. What more do you need to know? And that is true. And I'm sure a lot of other people were vacationing as well. But you would hope that the people that are over, representing people in Canada would, I don't know, show a little bit more that they're one of the people and less of the ruling class. I guess most people would want that. I just think it's a normal thing. Okay, so Denise says, start with the halls. and the day before a meeting let people know, then they then go and be relentless and talk outside afternoon and express. So okay, so yeah, so get together, I guess, be united, get organized to do good. Like you have to be organized and get together. Show us the Epstein list. That's funny. That's from Lee. And Liette says, it's becoming worse when opiates started. It's a highly profitable drug industry, destroying generations. And that is true. This is a topic that it always, whenever we get on it, it just takes off in terms of people's disdain for the fact that we've got this far and how we're handling it. And people are definitely affected. I don't know if any of our lives were not affected in any way by this crisis. Absolutely. What Flint Town, it's an eye opener. Flint Town. I believe that's reminding me of a documentary about Flint, Michigan, if that's what you're referring to. Denise says, as long as the halls operate without your voice, it's only going to get worse. I'm really pissed. People can't go do their city duty or do their duty to their taxes and community. Yeah, again, just be involved, get out there, get involved. If it's getting involved in a political party, say, I don't know, that's one way. Getting involved, getting organized in grassroots organizations. You may not be able to get government funding if you have a grassroots organization that doesn't go along with what their policies are. But you can at least volunteer and do things that way. So sorry, unless you're in line with whatever the government of the day deems the flavor of the month, you won't get funding for it. And if you're only out there to get funding, you'll have to get a job, get a career to basically provide for yourself. And then in your spare time, go out and make a difference in your community. If it doesn't fall in line with what the government is going to deem necessary or important, you won't be able to get funds from them, and you shouldn't. We shouldn't be going to the government for everything. And if you are doing something you want to do good in your community, start looking beyond your government, because that's the way that you will do the most good. I definitely wanted to do a year in review, other than the city, looking further of all of the things that we were doing in our country. And I will do that throughout the week. It's incredible, all of the changes. This is definitely a super duper progressive government. There's no doubt about it. They are changing, they're wiping history out, and they're changing the future very drastically, very quickly with their new legislations and laws and ideologies. And they are definitely hitting the UN targets and the WEF targets. So they're doing it at an accelerated pace as well. And yeah, so if you want to counter any of that, you're not going to get any help from them, and you shouldn't be looking to them anyways for that help. You should be doing it yourself on your own dime. Jess says Community Action Network runs under City Council. For sure. Reach out to your local CAN if you want to make a difference. Thank you for that, Jess. Much appreciated. And Happy New Year. If the government truly cared about its people, they would be working around the clock to rectify these problems that is crippling our country and its people. Yes, I 100% agree with that. It's very frustrating on many counts. As this point, knowledge is like paint. It's only good when you apply it. That's Denise. Jess says Sudbury is very transparent city. council meetings are on the city website. They ask public questions often. Thank you, Jess. That is true. And we just have to make the effort to go on the city's website. I was virtually in several meetings this year, and they're mildly entertaining to some degree and very educational because you can find out what the city is doing. And I was very impressed with some of the councilors chairing some of those meetings as well. So again, get involved. Don't just criticize all the time. Do things, get in the game, put some skin in the game, and make a difference in your community. I believe everyone has been affected in some form, either through a family member or someone they know who has fallen into the addiction. We now have methadone clinics in most communities. That's true. I don't agree myself with that form of handling the addictions issues myself. And we've talked at length on the show about that. If you're new to the show and you're only hearing this for the first time, and it's a form of the word just escaped me now. But when you're enabling addiction. It's a form of that. And that may be good to some extent, but you don't just keep enabling. You don't just keep giving till the cows come home. Maybe it's part of a rehabilitation plan for somebody. Okay, they got to get off the stuff. So give them something that's a little bit less harmful for a short period of time before you eventually have them come off and regain their life or begin their life if they haven't had one, meaning haven't had a productive life, enjoying life and all the things that are there to be enjoyed, and have only had negative experiences. Help them come to that point where they can actually have a positive experience with life. So this coming from CBC on Sudbury.news, where all the local news aggregates. Work finally begins on a long-awaited housing complex project in downtown Sudbury. The developer started blasting and clearing the property bordered by Brady Street, Van Horn Street, St. Raphael Street, and Lourdes. It hopes to pour the concrete foundations for a 347-unit building for seniors in the spring. So that's coming out of CBC, Sudbury. This also from CBC, what to expect from Ontario politics and the Doug Ford government in 2024. The new year brings new opportunities for Premier Doug Ford to try to move past the controversies that plagued his government in 2023. But he'll be facing a new political threat in the form of Ontario's Liberal leader, Bonnie Crombie. And again, CBC, obviously, I wait to hear the headline that you just says what to expect from Canadian politics. You could just insert Justin Trudeau's government in 2024. The new year brings opportunities for the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, to try to move past controversies that plagued his government in 2023. It's interesting, the CBC, again, political as usual, focuses on a political party that they don't necessarily agree with to have these types of headlines. I wish they would have them for both. I think they should have these ones because there are controversies in the Doug Ford government. He has done things that he needs to be held accountable for and continues to do that. But also, there's other governments in Canada doing the same thing that they also need to use the same ruler and report in the same way on. But they're usually politically leaning to one side, and they usually leave out those types of stories, and they only have the types of stories that you would normally get from normal journalism only for the one side. So I wish they would have that for both. But that is true. What can we expect from the Ford government? And we need to hold him accountable. We also need to hold Justin Trudeau accountable as well. Good morning, Vin. Thanks for joining us. You lost your calendar. Good morning and Happy New Year. January the 2nd, 2024. Just in case, because you lost your calendar, you weren't aware of that, but I'm sure you were. 4 new firefighters are approved for the city department. 2 training officers and a technician also added to the ranks. That's coming from the Sudbury Star. Night Owl welcomes veteran bassist and composer Duncan Hopkins. He's going to perform Thursday night at the Elgin Street Club. So that's if you want to get out and enjoy some nice jazz music at the Night Owl on Elgin Street. You can learn more about that on Sudbury Star website. Just looking again. The Afro Foundation opens clothing food bank. Immigrant moms supported while settling in, seeking work, can learn more about that at the SudburyStar.com. If you go to Sudbury.news, the story is there. That's the headline. That's the description of the story. New Year's Day polar bear swim. More than 400 people kicked off the New Year Monday with a dip in the icy waters of Lake Ontario while it was minus 6 degrees outside. That's from CTV Northern Ontario. Elgin Street Mission hosts the New Year's dinner. For 37 years, a turkey dinner has been the Elgin Street Mission's traditional way of ringing in the new year. And that's from CTV Northern Ontario. So again, more and more stories here, all the latest aggregating at Sudbury.news. It's your local news aggregator. Check it out. So as more comments are coming in here, much appreciated for everybody. I hope everyone had a great Christmas holiday, couple weeks or a week. I don't know how long it's been since we've been on. I think December 22nd was the last show we had. So it's been a couple weeks. Hope you guys had a great time, and I hope that you're looking forward to this new year with anticipation, optimism, and even if the world may not seem to be optimistic, there are things to be optimistic about, especially in your own life. You can control what you can control, and you can't control things you can't control. That's pretty much it. So concentrate on the things you can. Ask yourself, can I control this? Yes, no. If yes, what can I do? Proceed. If no, maybe a positive thought or something for the situation, a prayer, if you will. Maybe are there others who can do something about that? Maybe contact them if it's out of your control. But have the discernment to know the difference between those two things. And it's helped me in my life. And if there is something you can do about it, just concentrate on those things and try to take it one day at a time. Keep positive. There's lots to be positive about. So I guess we'll save our deep dive for tomorrow because there's lots to talk about there because our time is well spent here. We got to take off. I have to head to work and you have to head on to your day. So thanks for listening and watching today, everyone. It's been great to be back. We almost have our regular group all together. So I guess tomorrow there'll be more of us on. And so with that, Happy New Year, everyone. It's great to be back. Looking forward to seeing you same time, same place tomorrow on Facebook and YouTube, on CKLU on the radio, cklu.ca, streaming on the internet. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. And we'll be back same time, same place, God willing. Stay safe, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. See you tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.